In this video, I'd like to address one of the most divisive topics amongst guitar players, especially on the internet, and that is the one of relic guitars. Let's get into the debate. Hey everybody, Jamie Holroyd here, helping you learn jazz guitar. If you're new to jazz guitar and you want a structured guide to learning from a beginner's perspective, then I've got a free beginner's jazz guitar class which you can enroll in using the links in the video description below. So what is actually meant by the term relic guitar? Well, a relic guitar, as you can see from this one, is one that is designed to look older than what it actually is. So this guitar is a 2008 or 9 Mexican Roadworn Telecaster, and basically, especially from Mexican Roadworns, all the aging, especially on these early ones, is completely identical. I think the custom shop ones are more unique, but the Mexican ones have identical aging. So if you find one of the early Roadworn Telecasters like this and you want to know it's a kind of, proper Roadworn Telecaster, then kind of the strange thing about this one is if you look between frets 9 and 12, there's no relicing or aging whatsoever, but the rest of the fretboard looks much more worn in. And that is what the term road worn means on these specific guitars. They're worn to look like they've been on the road. On this specific guitar, you can see that it's basically being made to look older than what it is, or at least attempted to be made to look older than what it is, because there's some of the paint that's come off there that's been removed, some there. And like I said before, on the neck, that's the main thing. All this wear on the neck is all basically kind of aging, and on the back you can see that as well. So this is kind of a lightly relic guitar in my opinion. I used to have a much more relic guitar which was made by Nigel Crimson here in the UK, which was a very nice guitar. Why on earth would anybody pay to have a guitar which looks like this? This, to the uneducated of the guitar world, to the general public, whenever you show these guitars to people and you tell them that you're paying money to have a guitar that's that it looks older than what it is, well, for most other things that's stupid, isn't it? If you were buying a car and you were paying to have it all kind of scratched up, then no one would ever do that. But for some reason with relic guitars, it's kind of okay to do this. And there's a couple of reasons why I think people like relic guitars. The first is that you don't have to worry about putting all the dings on it. If you're taking this to kind of busy bar gigs and things like this, then, if you lean it on your amp, like what I often do, I never end up taking guitar stands to gigs and it kind of gets dinged or beaten up or something like that, then you're not really going to notice another ding on a guitar like this. The second is that a lot of guitar players don't actually like the feeling of brand new guitars. When you feel a guitar that's brand new, it can just feel a little bit kind of sticky or a little bit unresponsive. It kind of feels like it needs to be played in a little bit, I know that's a divisive topic, but a lot of guitar players also don't like brand new frets and brand new strings, because especially jazz guitar players, because with brand new strings there often is a lot of high end as well. So when you get something that is like this, it kind of feels like it's a little bit more worn in already. You're not getting a brand new guitar. So that's perhaps one reason. The last reason is that obviously vintage guitars have become quite desirable and for the most part very unachievable in terms of finance for most of us to actually get. So if you think about like what this guitar is basically based on, a 50s Telecaster, And obviously these have got kind of a place in pop culture. Roy Buchanan, Danny Gatton, Bruce Springsteen, people like that all played kind of, blonde blackguard Telecasters. And, the relicing is kind of part of the story on a lot of these guitars. If you think about Rory Gallagher's Strat, Stevie Ray Vaughan's Stratocaster, it's kind of part of it, isn't it? It's part of the story and part of the image. Even when these guys were playing these guitars, like they even, from kind of some of the early videos of some of these guys using their guitars, they all look kind of beat up, even, in the 80s and 90s and 70s when they weren't as old as what they are now. So, in your mind, by getting a guitar that's relic, especially, some of the iconic kind of colour schemes like a sunburst Strat that's relic or a blonde blackguard Telecaster that's relic, you're kind of getting something which is closer to what your heroes played. Now, after saying all that, I'd like to balance it out with my own opinions on relic guitars. Now, this is my second relic guitar. As I previously said, I had a boutique Telecaster which was heavily relic. So my experience with that one was that it was a great playing, great sounding guitar, but like because it was so heavily relic, the finish was kind of flaking off all the time, and the kind of overkill relicing just inevitably kind of made me obviously put the for sale signs on the guitar and let it go. Now, this one is a little bit of a different story. So me personally, light relicing I don't mind, but in all honesty, I'd probably be happier with a guitar which doesn't have relicing in. And I'll get my other guitar to explain why. This guitar is my 2006 crafted in Japan Fender Sunburst Stratocaster. You've probably seen me use this on the channel before. I've had it a long time, basically since brand new, and I've used this a lot. This was the guitar that I had basically throughout the college years, where I put a lot of practice on it, and I did use it for a lot of rehearsals, quite a few gigs. Before I got into Telecasters, I always used to use this on gigs, so it's seen quite a lot of gigs, a lot of rehearsals, a lot of hours. And I had this guitar, since I was about 16, so about half of my life, really, actually. So I've had it a long time, and you have to, the reason why I'm telling you that is because if you've ever seen kids with guitars, they can be very clumsy. And basically, in all that time, I don't even know if this will even show up on camera, but there's just one small ding on the side of the guitar there, which I did. I think I dropped it against the desk or something like that. And, looking at this, you can't really tell it's that old or it's got that much kind of wear or play on, really. It needs a bit of a clean, but if I'm really looking, there's maybe one or two tiny chips. So, I'm one of these people that I just don't know how people get their guitars so dinged up. I've done a fair amount of gigs and rehearsals with this and left it against amps and all kinds of things. But the only downside to this guitar is because it's got a polyurethane finish, it never kind of ages, never changes. This will probably look exactly the same in 50 years compared to what it actually does now. And this got all these Japanese Fenders have lacquered necks as well, which is okay, but I much more prefer the feel of kind of a satin worn down neck. So what brought me towards this Roadworn Telecaster guitar? Well, basically there is a couple of reasons why I got this, and I'll share them with you briefly. The first is that this guitar has a nitro finish, and as I've just said about the Strat, basically the Strat finish will look the same 50 years from now. Nitro, in theory, makes the guitar breathe and resonate more. So by having a nitro guitar finish, you've got something that kind of feels more like what the original, Fenders were meant to feel like, first of all. Secondly, this guitar has a very, very nice worn down neck. It's very, very comfortable for me to play, and it's the perfect shape for my hand. It's not kind of like a big 50s chunky neck, which, although they may feel very nice at first, if you play on one of those for a couple of hours, at least when I play on those for a while, they do get very tiring. So for me, this neck is a really kind of nice feeling neck. For me, the 50s Telecaster, the blackguard Telecaster, is the ultimate look, really. So, and of course the relicing is just kind of part of that package. So this is one of the only guitars, in fact it's probably the only guitar around this price range, which has the kind of features of a nitro finish, a nice worn down neck, good medium jumbo frets, a fantastic look to the guitar. It's basically a working musician's Fender custom shop guitar. I'm not sure if this is nicer than a Fender custom shop guitar, but it definitely holds a good fight against it. And if you think about, you know, Fender custom shop guitars, which ironically their most expensive tier of guitars, I think they're called Journeymans, are the most relics, then, you know, if this was kind of the custom shop American Telecaster, then, you know, this would be like 3 or 4 times the price. I feel like this video has mostly been in favour for Relic guitars, but hopefully what you're getting across here is that I have this Relic guitar now because it has a lot of nice features which I like on a guitar, and it just so happens to come with relicing. And really, you know, I'm not too bothered, especially when it's light relicing like this. I could take it or leave it, to be honest with you. It's just more about the fact that this guitar works in so many other ways. And I suppose at the back of my mind, you know, if it was unlikely to kind of get dinged or something like that, then it already looks like this and it already feels nice and worn in. Now, a lot of people will say that they don't like kind of the phoniness of, or, you know, of the relicing. And I get that too, you know, making something that looks older than what it is certainly, you know, it's almost like these scars are unearned, you know, like all the dints and scars, you know, not like I have many on my other guitars. I kind of feel like they've got stories between them. Whereas this, you know, obviously they all look the same from this batch, so that would definitely be one thing that, you know, some people might see as negative. But, you know, that just kind of is not just the case in guitars. You know, I think that Levi have made jeans which have also look distressed, so there's obviously, you know, a connection there to other items where people like to have something which makes it look more worn in. Anyway, I hope this video was useful. I feel like I've rambled on a little bit, but if it helps bring some informative kind of advice as to why people like Relic guitars, then hopefully it's kind of made some difference to what you think about these. But I'd love to know what you think about these. So share your thoughts about Relic guitars in the comments. Do you love them? Do you hate them? I'm very curious to think about what you guys are going to say. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to click like and subscribe to the channel.